Hello gamers, it's SoftKitty99, the Happy Gamer, and we're back in the Minecraft Creative Builds world, back building our shopping mall or shopping arcade. When I left you at the end of the last episode, I was adding walls and windows to the interior of arcades, so this is what we've got now. We've got all the external walls in each of our units built. So they're ready now to have your interior designs of whatever type of shops you want to add to all of them once you start building. Now what I'd like to do is add just a little bit more to the top of the build. As you can see, the door frame is still one block higher than the exterior edges. So what I would like to do is to think about how we're going to put on our roof areas. So the first thing that I'd like to do is run a block all the way along the top of here to meet with the mall entrance way, so that we've got this top of the door frames are now integrated into the build itself. So you'll know if you've got everything at the right level, because when you put this row in, it should touch the tops of all the walls as you go across your building and connect with the very top of the doors at the front and back of your building, and that way you'll know that you've built everything to the right dimensions. And it did look. So here we go, come around to the other side of this one and build across here, connecting everything together, and then we'll start adding in our roof sections. So come across, all the way across the length of the building. So we're just starting to set up ready to add the roof areas. Connect that all the way across that. That's everything's met up across here, and then we've got a side corridor, so we'll do the same down the side corridor. If you've added a side corridor, you'll need to do the same on yours, and if you're going up more than one level, you might need to make a few adjustments. You see here we've gone up a level, so we're going to want this to be one level higher. So figure out where your change in level is and bring it back to here. So I've got to run this one, needs to be that one higher, so we can remove that row there. So this top shop is one level higher, so we'll come across to there, and then we need to drop down because that's where the level has dropped. So you can see where the potential pitfalls are there by what I just did. There we go. So we've joined that across like so. So we've now got our supporting structures across the front of our shops linked to our build here. So now it's time to consider the roofing area. Oh, the roofing area. So what I'm actually going to do is put one extra row all the way around the edge of the building using our cut sandstone blocks. Now you'll see exactly why I'm doing this later. A, it brings the cut sandstone back into line, going all the way around the edges, so it's a little bit of detail added to the building, and it keeps these lines going all the way around each of the sections. Makes it very easy to see where all your sections are joining together. And this is going to be to support the roofing and the lighting for the interior of the shops. So go all the way around the build again to add this in. And don't forget to do over the tops of the shops across here like this. And once you've done that all the way around, then we can start adding in the roof. Now I could do all of this on camera for you, but that could make the episodes very long, so I've done a couple here. So let's start with the roofing. To do the roofing, I would like to use the blocks. Start with the quartz slab. So come to the top of this row that we've just added here. So you can still see half of these slabs, not slabs, half of these blocks is not obscured by the smooth quartz slab. You can of course use any type of slab for this roofing if you would like yours to be a different colour. You could use sandstone or you could use anything else. So I've just gone all the way around the edge with one row of the quartz, and then in the centre, right above where the window is, I want to put a row across the middle of the room like so. Then you've got two ways of doing the roofing section. Let me show you both. The first one uses the dark prismarine to make fittings for the lamps. So what you do is you go around the edge like so with the dark prismarine, and then you use the sea lanterns in the centre like so to form your lighting. The second way of doing it is to ignore the dark prismarine altogether and put a row of the slab all the way around the edge, and then add the sea lantern to make the strip lighting. And then if we come down a bit, and then we can show you the roof, so you can decide which you prefer personally. Do you prefer it to have like a light fitting idea around the edge, or do you prefer it to be simple and plain like so? And then you decide which style you'd like to build. You could also, of course, if you don't like the prismarine sticking out quite so much, you could use, well, you can use any colour you like, but you could use the slab instead, so that you get a slightly different texture to the ceiling. But at the end of the day, you have to decide which one you would prefer for yourself. And that is the way you should build your lighting, depending on the style that you'd like yourself. It's a shame there isn't a half block, because I think the ideal one would be a half block sitting right next, because we've got half slabs top to bottom, but if we could have a half slab laying on its side, that I think would be absolutely beautiful for this style of building. But then of course you'd need a half slab to fit in the corner, and they don't have that as a building type or material now, so decide which one you like to do for your own build. I actually thought I was going to prefer the prismarine, but now I've actually got it in, I'm thinking that the lighter ceiling might be better. Of course you could have different lighting in different buildings and different shops. You could change the lighting in the different shops. But I do think two fairly big lights is the best way to go in these spaces, because the spaces are actually quite big, so it will need quite a lot of light. Of course you don't have to use the sea lanterns, you can use the glowstone if you prefer the look of that. I just prefer the look of the sea lanterns. I just think it looks a little bit more classy for inside the shops. So that's the full version of the green. So in the next one, let's do a slightly different version, shall we? Let's do the let's fly. Let's do the version without the prismarine, shall we? So go all the way around the edge of the shop first. Then you can play with the lighting in all the shops. Every single one could have a different style of lighting, because the interior of the shop is going to be designed on whatever the owners want. Right, then put the road right down the centre, right above the window space, and then I'm going to put a row all the way around there for that one, and then all the way around the second one, and then just put the sea lantern right in the middle for our lighting, so that you can see what one of the shops looks like when it's done that way. That's all the way, isn't it? Right, so grab the sea lanterns and pop those in. We do need quite a lot of light in these little rooms. Right, there we go. And then let's go down and take a look. So That's the one with the sea lanterns. So let's flag in. So that's the sea lanterns and that's the prismarine. So for each shop you could do something different, so just decide which one you would prefer for yourselves. And then you wanted to go around and do that for all of the shop units. So you put your row of sandstone around the edge, then you put your slab in, and then you put your lighting in. So let's just do one more. We've put the smooth stone around the edge to make our base for putting in our roof. We're going to put in the smooth quartz right around the edge, like so, and then we decide what sort of lighting we might like inside our building. I think I'm going to put an extra row all the way around, so we've got 2 rows around this one, all the way around, and then I'm going to grab the sea lantern, and this time I'm going to do something unusual. I'm going to make a little square, I think, in this one. Go around the edge, make ourselves a little square for our lighting all the way around, and then go back to our quartz slab and fill in this, enter, like so. So I'm just playing with the lighting and doing different things for each of the builds. And go around and complete that on all of your shops so that they're ready then for the interiors to be done when you decide what you want each of your shops to do. I'm going to go finish that off camera and then come back to start on the roof. And welcome back. I've had a go at all of the different roofs, and I've tried to do something different with each and every one of them so that you've got ideas of what sort of styles of lighting you can do. So let's take a look from the top because the patterns are much simpler to see. This is the one with the full prismarine blocks that we started with on screen, and then that's the one without the prismarine blocks that we did on screen. And then I've gone for a square pattern, so we've got a double row of the quartz slabs around the edge and then a little square with a 3x3 of quartz in the centre. And then I varied it up with the line pattern, so every other row we've got a row of the lapis lazuli and then 2 of the lighting blocks, and then another lapis and 2 lighting blocks and another one. So we're just playing with different styles of the light. And now we've got a little grid pattern for the lighting. And then on the centre section where we've got the 3 wide walkway, I've used the prismarine around the edges and stuck the sea lanterns down the side so that the blocks of lighting are in line with the different shops. Then on the other side of our build, I've got that little tiny shop with the prismarine light like we started with in the very first of the shops on screen. And then on the bigger shops again, I've got 2 squares. So just putting it in different styles, just playing around with things to make it look different. Then we've got like a chessboard style of design here. And then I've used the lapis lazuli again here to make little squares with the lighting in the centre section. And then over here I've put the lighting all the way around the edge of the shop and then just made a cross in the middle and used the prismarine slabs this time just to make a flatter roof around the edges. And then at the far end we've got a couple of the little shops. I've just made a 2 wide lighting section in the middle of the slabs for the roof, and then I've used the strip design again, but I've used the lapis lazuli to separate things out. So shall we have a look inside so that you can see what the roofs look like from down at the bottom? Let's go inside. So with the quartz, you see the sea lanterns stick out from the quartz, so you've got those little double lights here. And then you can pick which sort of styles you like yourself and just play around with them and just try different geometric designs and whatever colours might reflect whatever building you're going to put in. So you might want to change the styles of and the colours of the blocks. Like I've used the lapis lazuli here, but you could put the wool or a different terracotta or a different style of stone in there, depending on maybe on what you decide to put in as the shop. So you might want to vary your lighting to match the theme of the shop that you pop in. just going to run through and show you the lighting. So this is the strip lighting from inside the building. This is where we've got a change in level. So I've just put an extra prismarine block in to cover the gap where the levels change here. So let's go down a little step here. So there's, we've got the double square version of the lighting. Let's go inside so we can look up at it. And just by using the half slab and then the full lighting, you get that sort of 3D effect, so it all stands out a little bit. And of course you don't need to use the quartz slab, you can use something different if you prefer to. And there's our standard prismarine light, which I was originally thinking I would do in all of the shops, but now that I've seen it fully developed, I'm not quite sure. I mean, it would look really nice in a really big room, but in these smaller rooms it just looks a little bit too prominent or dominant maybe. And then we've got our main run here. So we've got the prismarine floor, and then we've used the prismarine mirroring it on the ceiling and putting the lighting in. And then you've got the gap where the shop fronts change just there, so it looks like strip lighting. And there's the square pattern that we had from the top. And then in the next one we've used the lapis lazuli that we used on the entrance hall doors, so we're continuing the theme of the colours that we've got on the outside of the building. So I've got this as the strip light theme, but we've got the blue to separate it out. So we've got the blue at the end, so it looks like a holder for the lights, so it brackets the lights at each end, and then you've got the double wide lights in between each of the brackets holding them in place. And we've got 4 of those lights. As you can see, it's nicely symmetrical around where the windows are. So the lights are in line with the edges of the window, and then you've got the fillet in between and the fillet in where the gap is between the windows. And then on this side we've got the double square. Oh, we've already looked at that one. And then we've got the single square up here. There's the single square and the double square. Double square should have a lot more light, but it's a much more geometric dominant design than the single square. And over here we've got the chessboard design. Again, that's quite prominent because there's so many lights up there, the texture really draws the eye. Something like this could probably be for some sort of trendy modern clothing or maybe sportswear shop or something like that. Ooh, that was an ominous sound. Have we got something underground near here? Ooh. And then we've got a more chunky design for the lights. This time we've got a big section holding the lights at the side. We're using the lapis lazuli again. Like I said, I just wanted to play with the designs, and then we're coming back to where we started. That's one of the original 2, and that's the other one that we did on screen. And then the final one, I've ran the sea lantern all the way around the edge of the shop, and then just used the crossbars where the centre of the windows are, and then just filled in the rest of the roof using the prismarine to give a different style of roofing. And that is all the lighting added into the building. So what we're left with now is putting a roof on our building, and then the interior of the build is ready to start adding your shops. So in the next episode we'll add the roofing to the building, and then after that we'll start adding some shops. Hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. From Soft Kitty 99, goodbye and happy gaming!